Welcome, true believers. It's Channel Couch Co-op.
What up?
And we got Grim and Shaf. We are going to be talking about another Marvel series. Surprisingly, we're going to be talking about Hawkeye.
Sweet.
But yeah, so I'll throw it to Grim. What do you think about the said series so far?
So
overall,
the interesting thing is like Hawkeye, he definitely doesn't have a prominent role in the Avengers, not because he's not great or amazing. He doesn't have his own self-titled movie. Partly, to what I understand, he made this series because he wanted to be able to spend more time with his children, and that was kind of in the contract. If he was going to do something like that or a movie, he wanted to make sure he had some time with his children, which, oddly enough, is the battle that Hawkeye or Clint Barton has in the movies, which is making sure he has time for his children.
right?
So basically, so far of the series, in my opinion, it's the cleanest in terms of look and just overall completeness. Now, mind you, WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier were marred by COVID and just a lot of production issues. You got to rewrite probably half the script for Falcon because of their very seemingly plotline of a pandemic that was affecting, or at least something that needed an antidote or antibodies or something like that. Yeah. So understandable. But this is a very fleshed out series. I mean, for me, as a kid, Hawkeye was one of my favorite superheroes because I had this weird thing like purple looked cool in terms of costume. So his purple costume, even though he looked completely ridiculous, looked awesome. He had a gigantic H on his head. He's like, what? Okay. And I always thought archery was really sweet. I actually was very close to putting on my Christmas list in high school to get a bow and arrow, but then I probably would have killed someone. Huh. But yeah. But what do you think? What are your thoughts so far?
Oh no, I mean, as a series, I like it. Yeah. You know, I totally forgot the Steinfeld. I forget her first name. Haley. Yeah. Totally forgot about her. Good God, she's beautiful. So I like her character a lot, not just because of what she looks like. She's fun. She's a stereotypical girl, where she just kind of nonstop talking, and it totally irks Hawkeye or Clint, I should say. But yeah, I mean, overall, I like it. It's good. Is it one of my favorite series? It's okay. I'll be true. I'm not a big Hawkeye guy. Right. I always thought he was kind of lame. And I always just kind of felt like why is he in the Avengers, sort of, more or less? Which now I've seen the character and everything, I understand why he's in the Avengers, but I don't know. It just was never really a favorite of mine. I thought he was ridiculous and his costume was stupid. And
I mean, don't get me wrong, gigantic purple H on the forehead doesn't really make a whole lot of sense either.
Well, it's just his mask in general, because he has the wings on the side and stuff like that. I just thought he was always dumb looking, and archery, I always thought was just kind of it's okay, he's basically, in my mind, that he was always a Deadshot, like a lamer version of Deadshot.
Well, the interesting thing I thought yesterday is what was first, Green Arrow or Hawkeye? Which we can look up there and throw it up there. Because there's definitely a lot of similarities in terms of superpowers or abilities, clearly Quicksilver, Flash,
sure.
And things of that sort. I was always curious.
But Quicksilver was actually a villain, though, initially.
No, understood.
But yeah, anyway, I mean, the thing that's interesting, is, it would be interesting. The reason why I like Green Arrow, just because he's sarcastic.
Right.
He's just, he's jokey. And, I mean, and Hawkeye has kind of gone down that road. Green Arrow always kind of had, joke arrows, which was funny. And, I don't know, now this is something where we'll throw it up there perhaps, but that's why I always like Green Arrow, because he didn't take himself seriously. Right. And Hawkeye did, very seriously. And so it was I don't know, but I always kind of felt like Hawkeye eventually kind of picked up on Green Arrow's jokiness with the trick arrows and stuff like that, and even the show kind of goes into that.
Right.
We'll see who really kind of got into it first, but I know Green Arrow's always kind of been that way.
I think Hawkeye isn't necessarily trick arrow. Are you saying trick as in ha-ha, or trick a gimmick or something, a special ability?
Both, okay. Honestly.
Because I think, to my understanding, Hawkeye's more of a tech or some sort of added thing, not like a arrow bang comes out type of thing, but oh, it's a smoke grenade arrow.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
This one would, could be my repelling arrow or whatever, that kind of a thing.
For sure.
I mean, but I forget, it was one of the comic series, but it was Green Arrow, and it was like the ensemble with the Justice League, but one of his arrows was like he pulls it out because they're like, oh, what are you going to use an arrow with a boxing glove? Like, they were making fun of him for it.
Right.
And then later on in the story, there's literally a precise moment where there's a switch on the opposite side of the room that they have to get to, but they can't get to it in time, and so he brings out, he's like, this is exactly why I have this, and it's like kind of funny,
Right.
But yeah, anyway, they did that in this show, incidentally. But yeah, anyway. So Hawkeye, meh.
Yeah.
The Avengers, now Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye always was, once again, meh to me.
Okay. Well, he doesn't have a lot of speaking roles, and he's always that support character.
Yeah.
When you have an Iron Man, a Captain America, just those key figures, and not to say that Jeremy Renner's acting skills aren't great, but you have movies based off of Captain America. You have 3 of them. You have 3 Iron Men. So it's hard to...
Sure, but I think, like, in the regard of, like, there's... Think of Bucky Barnes, for instance.
Sure.
I kind of hold them on almost kind of the same level, perhaps, just because, I mean, I guess maybe they can't really... It's not apples to apples, but because one's kind of a superhuman. But... they're both brooding, like, silent background characters, supporting characters.
Sure.
And I like Bucky's character so much more just because he's more badass and just kind of, like, has a presence about himself.
Sure. Well, and the banter between him and, not Rhodey, but Sam.
Oh, you mean in the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, this is what this is doing to Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner's character, for sure, because you're getting much more fleshed out, like, his background, his character, like, his dryness, things like that, so.
I mean, for me, like, watching this series as of right now, and it's hitting differently for me, probably because I liked Hawkeye so much as a child, but, like, if I had to rank them now, still at the moment, Loki's top number 1 for me.
Okay.
And then it's, depending on how Hawkeye develops, it might be number 2, then WandaVision, then Falcon Winter Soldier.
Okay.
Not to say that Bucky and Sam were horrible, but it's just like the development, because they had to rewrite, it didn't flow as well.
Yeah.
And then the person who played the Flag Smashers, the lady.
Oh, the girl, yeah.
She's a good actress. Don't get me wrong. It just it fell short in some pieces. In that.
Well, she kind of. I don't know. I mean, this could be a trademark of a good villain, though. Like, I just hated her, like, just because, like, she became corrupt and everything else like that. And I guess, like, that's probably a good sign of a good villain, yes. But I couldn't wait for her to die, like. It was more of, like, she was more annoying than, like, menacing than anything.
Right.
In my opinion. Is that how you felt?
Yeah, she was quite annoying. And her rationale on a lot of decisions didn't make any sense.
Exactly.
But then again, it could have been just the way that the story had to develop and the way that they produced it.
Sure. And I mean, like... We'll see. We'll see where it goes from here. But, like, with the Flag Smash, she's dead, right?
I don't remember, honestly.
I
was thinking that midway through. Didn't she get shot by Carter?
Yes, she got killed by Carter. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because she was the pawnbroker, right? Or shadow broker.
No, it's something else. Power broker.
Shadow broker. That's from here, isn't it, or something like that? Anyway. Anyway.
I was thinking about Double Dragons, the shadow boss, or whatever it's called.
Oh no, you're thinking of Street Fighter, Shadow Blue.
No, but there's a boss for the cartoons for Double Dragon where he's a shadow guy and he had like 2 mutton chop beard things here.
Oh really?
Yeah, shadow something.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, off topic.
Yeah.
We both agree Hawkeye's entertaining. We both agree that Hawkeye so far is really good, but it could definitely fall or rise depending on the situation.
I think for me, I think it's like Daredevil.
Yeah.
Daredevil. The first season I felt was good. The second season I thought was blah. Personally,
in the third season?
Yeah, I actually didn't watch it because I kind of fell out of love of the series by the second season, and I was kind of like, eh.
Oh.
And like, once again, not a really big Daredevil fan initially. Much more of a Punisher guy.
Yeah. Did you like the Punisher series though?
Yes. It was slow.
Yeah.
But it was okay. I kind of wish, of course it got ended, preemptively, but I was like, it totally picked up right at the end where it was like, okay, now that's going to be the Punisher.
And then Jigsaw or whatever, right?
Yeah, Jigsaw was in it. I actually didn't see the Jigsaw one, but just because, I know it's Disney, but Jigsaw in the comics is like fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
He's more twisted than the Joker.
Sure.
And they really nerfed him.
Oh yeah,
and for the TV series, like really nerfed him.
Right. So, it's also like, when you're comparing superhuman super abilities to just a really, really good trade, being shooting arrows. Like, what is his innate ability for Hawkeye? It's just he's very precise.
Yeah, he doesn't miss.
Right.
So it's just like,
except for What If.
Well, that's just it, yeah. But it wasn't his fault technically. But yeah, that's just it. Is it's like that. He doesn't miss. That's why I always thought he's like Deadshot from DC.
Right.
Obviously he's good and
Sure.
not a villain.
Yeah.
But that's more or less what I've always kind of viewed him as. And however, I've just kind of felt he's just always been one note. And the show's definitely fleshing him out with Kate Bishop's character. She's
Pizza Dog.
Oh yeah, Pizza Dog. I forgot about that. It's cool. It has a lightheartedness to it. It's definitely more family-friendly show.
So for premature rankings right now in your mental head for the Disney Plus
for all of them,
yeah,
it's on the bottom. I'll admit.
Basement.
No, not basement. I would submit the thing I like. What was it? The Tracksuit Gang is funny.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I love them. Like, they say bro after every sentence.
Russian Tracksuit Mafia.
Yeah. So they're hilarious just because they're so stupid.
What's up, bro?
Yeah, like, bro. Hey, bro. Oh, come on, bro. They're just...
The Imagine Dragon thing was hilarious.
Yeah. I like Imagine Dragons. Oh. But yeah, so anyway, it's interesting. Like, their company, their truck moving company is called, isn't it Move It Pro or something?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of like a running joke in the series, which is pretty good.
Which is from the Matt Fraction something, I forget, what's it?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
huh.
They were in the I'll get that in a second. Rate the shows real quick. I'll do some research, and
I would submit it's in the bottom tier.
Okay.
Still got
go bottom to top. I want to hear it.
Still got a while.
No,
bottom. I don't know. Like, once again, WandaVision was a tough pill for me. It was just kind of, it was a little too corny for me, and I know what it was doing, exploring the many stages of grief in each episode and everything else like that. But I don't know. I didn't like the route that it took, where it was trying to show it through a television series.
Mm-hmm.
I get that artistically and everything, but it was very disjointed for me, just because every episode was different.
Mm-hmm.
And
David, sorry, Matt Fraction.
That's it. Okay. Yes. But yeah. So it was probably WandaVision. This, it's still kind of early to tell. Like, the stuff that happened in WandaVision is much more important to the MCU. I'll admit that.
Yeah. But it fell short from what you were looking for.
Yes. I just kind of felt like there was too many diversions.
Sure. No,
it was like, I wish they kind of...
It's like there were too many parallel universes.
Yeah, exactly. So, I just felt like it was unfocused.
Sure.
And so anyway, then Hawkeye perhaps. Yeah. I don't know. It's still early to tell. We'll see. I do like Kate Bishop's character. That was the one that I was kind of like, I won't lie. Once again, I don't really know Kate Bishop in the comics, but
which I'll go over after this explanation.
But it's okay. So it goes that, then maybe Falcon, Winter Soldier,
and then
Loki
dominating up top.
Yeah,
because they have Gator Loki.
yeah, exactly.
So basically, the premises of this is not entirely because they can't pull complete storylines because you have all that prior history and stuff like that. Kate Bishop and Hawkeye are part of this storyline with the Matt Fraction and David Aha. Is that what I said? David Aha?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to discredit them just because they did such a fantastic job. The story is basically Hawkeye goes to an auction. The auction is for...
Are you recapping the show or the comic?
The comic.
Okay.
So Hawkeye goes instead of Kate.
Okay.
Because there is some incriminating photos of Hawkeye. And the tracksuit mafia or whatever break up the auction.
Okay.
Oddly enough, tracksuit mafia and stuff like that are headed by Kingpin.
Yeah.
So a lot of similarities, and there's also the dog, but the dog is owned by Hawkeye, not Kate.
Okay.
I think they call him Lucky in the Fraction comic.
Okay.
But they call him Pete's dog just because he eats pizza, like Ninja Turtle, which is cool, I guess.
I think I know what we're having for lunch now.
So beyond that, there's a lot of similarities in terms of Haley Steinfeld. I only knew of her from Pitch Perfect, and I only watched that because of Anna Kendrick.
That's where she's from.
Yes. So from 2 and 3, that's where she's in. So that's how I knew of her, and stuff like that. But clearly our opinions are good so far, and it has a way to develop to make it amazing. And we'll recap episodes 1 through 3 right quick, because part of 3 can possibly lead it into bigger and better things.
Right. I would submit let's do it quick, but kind of recapping, first episode kind of introduces them both. You get mostly Kate Bishop's backstory and how she's a savant at everything, kind of, almost. She's a a third level black belt,
she does fencing, she does archery,
she was the top in everything,
but she's also comes from an extremely rich background. They had this gigantic penthouse in Manhattan, and the Battle of Manhattan.
Was Hawkeye that way or no? He wasn't rich, right?
Background.
Okay, I'm not sure, in the comics, I should say. Not
in the Battle of New York, Kate's penthouse gets actually destroyed, and her life is saved by Hawkeye, and so she idolized Hawkeye.
Unbeknownst to Hawkeye, he just kind of does it.
Kate's father actually mysteriously dies at that point too, where the Fraction comic, the mom dies, but beyond that point.
Oh, really?
Yes. So, it's interesting because when you're watching the opening clips, Kate's winning all these things, but you see the mom in the cartoon, the drawn out cartoon, pretty much pushing her in that Tiger Mom Chinese version where you're oh, do this and that, and she becomes excellent at it. With the opening scene, I think she's not expelled, but she gets seriously slapped on the hand for destroying a bell, which is actually, I think the name of the bell or the tower was the guy from Iron Man 1. For the Big Lebowski, that guy. Yeah.
Jeff Bridges' character in there. Huh.
Yeah, it's named. The bell tower is that character's name.
Huh.
Obadiah somethings.
Yeah. We'll throw it up there.
Yeah.
In the picture of his bald head.
Box of scraps.
Yeah.
So basically, so they catch her up. She's a little bit of a rebel, does a bunch of shit, and then you kind of zoom in on Hawkeye's family and life. They're in New York on a vacation. Mom isn't there, which of the Hawkeye family, she's my favorite, just because not only from Freaks and Geeks, Grandma's Boy, but she's also Velma in the Scooby-Doo series.
That's right, I forget about that.
Yeah, so basically, they're trying to enjoy Christmas.
Well, yeah, it's Christmas time, yeah.
And then also, you notice he has a hearing aid. He's losing his hearing, and then on top of that, just the development of what has happened since.
They did drop that in the Avengers movie, right? That his hearing was going.
I don't know. I don't remember. I know he's just he's getting battered and bruised because he's just a human. Also, all their speculation sites and stuff that I've seen, you kind of realize that of when Thanos bombed the Avengers compound up in upstate New York. He's like one of maybe 2 people that didn't have a body armor or any type of actual superhuman ability, so he got probably wrecked in that fight. Beyond that point, basically, Kate.
But Black Widow could sustain an explosion 5 feet from her and just fly away. So, cue that famous clip.
So, in slow motion.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's messing around in New York. Kate goes to a party, and she finds out that her mom is getting married to this random dude, who gets kind of these douchebag type of vibes when you first meet him. And
Which I actually ended up looking him up who he's supposed to be, because I was just like,
who's the swordsman?
Yeah, exactly. He's the swordsman
who's actually trained Hawkeye originally.
Yeah. So he might not be a bad guy.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is the mom has this really serious conversation with the swordsman uncle.
Yes.
And they have like a fight almost, and it sounds very shady. So you're just like thinking, okay, like what's going on with Kate Bishop's family? Where's this money come from? Who are these people? Who is his family?
Mm-hmm.
Armand is the old man thing.
Yeah. And then Armand the third.
The people like
it says it on the candies.
Yeah. The butterscotch. Yeah. They disappear, and Kate wants to go investigate because she has a bad feeling. Her I can't say spider sense, but her mini Hawkeye sense is tingling. Goes downstairs and sees this rich, like hoity-toity auction where they're selling Triceratops skulls, which I wouldn't mind having, and a bunch of Avenger compound shit. And
I'm sure that happens, quite honestly. But it's interesting because it was cool to see that. Like it was like yeah, because I'm sure that stuff happens every day, and like it was neat to see that. And like then they start auctioning off like Avenger stuff, and it ends up being Ronan's
suit, Ronan's sword. And then the thing that the tracksuit mafia, tracksuit mafia?
Yeah, tracksuit mafia.
Is actually Tony Stark's watch.
Yes.
Which we don't know why yet. So clearly Kate Bishop grabs the suit, wants to protect herself, throws it on, starts fighting people. Everyone freaks out that Ronan's back. And then,
because he was basically the Batman during the 5 years that, the Avengers were gone and everything. But
he killed like all the criminal organizations, or at least tried to like stutter them greatly.
Yeah.
So with that said, Tracksuit Mafia is just like, hey, that's that girl. We need to go after her. Clint Barton's like, wait, I was that person. What's going on? I need to find the suit. Goes after the girl, and then like, she being kind of a typical younger like lady who doesn't realize what's going on. And I'm not trying to insult ladies. It's just like how the character was written. Like, wasn't making sure she was being tracked. She wasn't making sure covering her footsteps. So she's in the Ronin outfit, goes back to her personal apartment, puts up the dog, and gets in an altercation with Hawkeye because the tracksuit mafia is chasing him, and then they go back to their place, and then they track them back there too. And then the fun part is just the Molotov cocktail where Clint breaks the glass, catches the Molotov cocktail, and throws it back at him.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that type of stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of like lighthearted humor, especially with like the combat and stuff like that. And with the tracksuit mafia, they're fucking funny, really funny.
That kind of leads into the second episode where her apartment or flat gets torched and someone steals the suit. Clint tries to track down the suit to try to prevent people from dying, and then secondarily, what kind of ends up happening by association is, Kate gets wrapped in with Hawkeye, they become teammates, and basically the tracksuit mafia actually catches up and catches them.
Yeah.
Where it leads into what you assume is the big bad, which is Echo.
Yeah.
Who is a Hispanic, deaf.
No. Native American.
Native American, I'm sorry.
Right?
Maybe Native American, my bad, yeah.
Because the guy who plays her father always plays Native American roles.
My mistake.
Typically.
My mistake. Well, her name is Maya, so that's why I got confused. Because you can get both from,
Well, in all honesty, well, to be very fair, I mean, most Hispanics were indigenous people initially,
sure.
So.
Or at least from Central America, that generally.
Yeah. So it's like they are essentially Native American.
No disrespect.
Yeah.
Wherever she lives. So she has.
But I'm pretty sure she's Native American in the comics, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So like missing a leg and also deaf, and so It's more the inclusion process for the Disney universe. You know, you had your first deaf person in the Eternals, and then on top of that, you had, you know, just different types of things. They're trying to kind of expand the universe in many ways.
Yeah.
So after the big bad comes out, you kind of get episode 3, which is basically learning about Echo, which, you know, her father is one of the mid-level higher up tiers of the Traxxas Mafia, and then you meet this random uncle, which is a suited white man who was very heavy.
Who's huge. He's like out of frame in the shot. He's so much taller than the dad.
So that is what we assume is Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, which is hopefully Vincent D'Onofrio and not recasted, because he did do a very good job.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing against Michael Clarke Duncan.
Well, he's dead.
Yes, well, even still, I personally didn't like that casting just because, as a young child, I didn't understand that, you know, just because he's one ethnicity in one way. Did it take it away a little bit? Yes.
Yes.
But he did do...
I'll admit, I am one for the books. You know, it might irritate some people, but I don't really like it when they do change the ethnicities with certain groups, like, unless they're trying to take the story in a different direction.
Right.
But yes, I kind of feel like it's like, just kind of, because it changes the culture of the character almost in certain instances as well. So, but like, I don't know. In this one, Wilson Fisk is such a gigantic white dude. And that I mean, you know, it kind of defines who he is in a way in my mind.
Right.
So it's, I could understand where you're coming from on that one.
So with that,
but coincidentally, if Michael Clarke Duncan was white, you'd probably be stereofit for if he gained a little weight, you know, in the midsection.
Yeah,
he'd probably be
because he was huge,
perfect body
and like, yeah. So with that said, like, I guess that's like the hypothetical reveal at this point. Usually the big reveal and cameos between episode 4 and 5. You know, that's where you got, you know, the old Quicksilver in WandaVision. You got the alternate Lokis or something like that. And, in that realm and universe. So
I'm excited. I think, like, you know, if they bring that, you know, Vincent D'Onofrio, or I can never say his last name. D'Onofrio, is that what it is? Okay. He was really awesome in The Cell. Watch it. Creepy as shit.
Whatever.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think it was SVU or something. No, Criminal Intent.
I didn't even know he was in that, because when I saw him, because he has a shaved head and I had no idea who he was.
Oh really?
But when they did
to me, he has such a distinctive face that I'm like, oh, that's that guy. Yeah. But actually, probably because I saw The Cell when I was really young.
With Jennifer Lopez,
yes,
right?
And it's a terribly creepy film. Like, it scarred me as a child. Like, I was like, oh my god. And that's probably because, like, in it, he, like, transforms himself because they're entering his dreams, you know?
Yeah.
Or his mind. And so he could be whatever he wants to be. And, like, so he's, like, these fucked up, like, creature things. It's weird. But anyway.
But this would be the cross into the Netflix series and bringing back at least hopefully the good characters, which would be Daredevil, in my opinion, Punisher, and in my opinion, King.
Don't get me wrong, Daredevil was fine. Like, because the season, yeah, actually it was. Luke Cage was actually decent as well.
And let's not talk about Iron Fist. Move on.
Yeah. Well, what was it? Defenders was okay.
Yeah, but Iron Fist was horrible.
Yeah.
I am Kenny Rand.
Well, they're replacing him in the comics now, aren't they? Isn't he getting killed? And so I think they're actually going to unwhitewash Iron Fist.
Okay. And
may give it back to an Asian person to have the Iron Fist mantle.
It's a lot of the difference of race was for Tilda Swinton and Doctor Strange's that thing. So
yeah.
I mean, you can't do it perfectly, and I can understand. You know, you're not going to find that subset perfectly every way, but
sure.
You know, that as I've gotten older, that's why the Michael Clarke Duncan thing doesn't bother me as much, just because it's, you know, it's a choice. It happened, and the movie wasn't amazing because of him, or amazing or horrible because of him either. That movie, unfortunately, was terrible.
Just terrible in general.
So.
But yeah.
So
I mean, to be fair though, Michael Clarke Duncan probably wasn't an Oscar, level actor either. But because he was pretty hammy in Sin City and stuff like that.
Green Mile, he was amazing.
Well, of course, but I mean, he played a simpleton, you know. But regardless, Hawkeye.
So
we're pretty excited. You know, it kind of. there was like the cool car chase scene and stuff like that.
The Pym Arrow was phenomenal.
Oh yeah, the Pym Arrow, which was cool. Yeah, that was really cool. Because I was wondering, I was like, what the hell is he gonna do? Like, and they did that. You know, made a gigantic arrow to stop everybody from following them.
The interesting thing is the one that they plugged the Tracksuit Mafia guy at the end, where it's like, don't move, you don't want to know what this arrow does. That was the USB arrow.
Yeah.
It's in What If and also in one of the Avengers movies.
Yeah, I was going to say it was in an Avenger movie, wasn't it? But yeah.
I mean, it has a lot of promise, a lot of interesting things going to possibly happen from where this can take it. My assumption is they'll actually fully flesh out Kingpin in episode 4 or 5. That's also when Spider-Man comes through. Because that's when that releases, so it coincides. We'll definitely do one about Spider-Man. Because that looks amazing at this moment.
We'll have to fight people for tickets, apparently.
I already have tickets.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
My man.
So, beyond that, so far so good. You got 4 or 5 episodes left. We're excited to see them, and we're kind of loving Disney Plus. We'll be back with at least Book of Boba.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean that'll be one. Mandalorian comes out too, right?
Yeah,
soon.
Soon after. Yeah.
So
we're just gonna be watching.
Yeah. Disney, fuck you. No, but yeah, they're killing it. They're killing it right now. They're doing good things. I mean, it's serviceable stuff. It's not like change your life stuff, but yeah. Actually, Spider-Man may do that. But and he's signed on for another trilogy. Did you hear about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll be back with lots more. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, tell a friend. We'll see you next time.
Later.